Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is How Pro Smurf featuring mid Queen of Pain. The first thing to note in this replay is the fact that Quap is blocking instead of going for the rune. As of 709, there's no point in Quap getting the rune, everyone gets gold anyways, so blocking has a way more important role in how the lane will be. As he goes for the block, pay attention how he stops it when it's clear that the dire creeps are pushing way faster, and with that he gets perfect creep equilibrium. It's clear how uncomfortable Zeus is last hitting there, and according to the rank 100 player, in a normal game in his bracket, Zeus would be punished immediately by the supports that would rotate to kill him. In this case, even though he doesn't, there's a big advantage that Quap gets with the block. Since Zeus can't last hit reliably, he has to arc lighting to get CS. And even though the range creep was aggro to Quap the entire time, this mistake doesn't get punished since arc lighting pushes the lane naturally anyways. He can also dagger and attack Zeus drawing aggro because of the arc lighting natural push. As the lane continues, pay attention how he walks away from the creeps only when they are low HP so that he doesn't take arc lighting harass. The way the player uses his item power spikes is quite commendable. As he gets his magic wand, he gets level 3, he jumps Zeus as his haste ends, not only to cancel the clarity, but to harass him. It's worth noting that he goes for it when his range creep was already damaged enough so the creep equilibrium is still on his side. When he gets his second move Talisman, we see the same play again. Even though he draws range creep aggro, the lane was pushing slightly and he didn't waste too much time in the fight. It's also worth noting that he did not Scream of Pain when he goes for the harass. If you analyze, Scream of Pain level 1 is way inferior in damage than the level 2 dagger. If he had the chance to get a kill there, using Scream would be fine, but this is just harass, so he makes sure to be as mana efficient as possible. He zones him completely out of arc lighting range. You might find that too aggressive, but before blinking, he checked Zeus' mana and knew that after this lightning bolt here, he was completely out of mana and he could be there reigning supreme. Eventually his Visage smokes mid to kill Zeus, and pay attention how Quap approaches the gank. He could jump right now and they would get the kill anyways. But he waits until the creeps are hitting his range creep to be sure that he will have lane equilibrium even after it. When you're that far ahead, getting a kill but destroying the equilibrium is probably in favor of Dire. They easily get the kill, and when Zeus goes back, he's still in the same shitty situation. He's a hero that does not jungle very well, and the effect just snowballs. One thing to note this game is that he skipped bottle. If you look it up, you'll see that maybe 30% of the Quaps are skipping bottle when they go for the Orchid first item build, and it's something personal. In a game you want to have static creep equilibrium like this, going bottle a lot of the times work against you since you lose experience and gold looking for them. Also, one full bottle at the stage Quap is right now regens close to 270 mana, while one full clarity regens almost 500 mana. You can argue that it's easily cancelled, but when you dominate the lane like this, he can also easily kill a Zeus that goes there and tries to go for it. The cost of clarities are also quite small, and considering how much time it takes until you get the Orchid power spike, spending 650 gold on a non-stat item can really hurt your early mid game. That being said, it's a question of playstyle and how you want to play your lane anyways. This is again a great showing of small decisions that lead to one snowballing like crazy. Zeus is playing very bold here, and the only reason the rank 100 player doesn't engage is because he had barely enough mana to go for him. Another thing that makes him wait to dive Zeus, and you saw that every single kill, is that he waits until the creep waves meet, even if sometimes he draws aggro from the range creep. So first of all, if you don't know, your entire kit costs you between 530 and 550 mana depending on your Scream of Pain level. So he gets Zeus, fine. I don't want you to focus on that. Pay attention how even though he draws aggro, the fact that the melee creeps are still attacking and that the enemy siege unit aggro to the range creep allows him to keep the lane stationary, even to this point of the game. That also means that he takes pretty much no damage when he goes for the dive, since the creep wave doesn't appear as he dives Zeus. And the last touch of this perfectly executed kill is that he has vision of 3 enemies in the minimap, guaranteeing him a kill even if TP rotations are there, since Quap is such a bursty hero. Way more impressive than all of that is how the Quap uses all of the assets available to him to draw resources from Zeus and then use that against him. A lot of players after that kill would go base or they would shrine. What would happen is that 1, they would lose the free lane golden experience they acquired, and 2, as soon as they came back, Zeus would be full mana and they would take a bunch of harass without being able to kill him since they just spent Sonic Wave. What he does is, even without any mana, he waits for Zeus to go back and uses the fact that he's full HP to soak a lot of the harass that would come from him. Not only that, he right clicks him, and that while may not look incredibly effective, he's going to shrine anyways. See how he trades even without caring about creep aggro? He makes sure to thread switch to strength while he walks to the shrine, and guess what? Thanks to the initial harass he went for, kills Zeus again. You can see he was missing 180 HP, which might seem completely worthless to you, but look at how the kill unfolds. Without Sonic Wave, that kill would be either super high commitment or wouldn't happen, and those small details just add up to Cop being incredibly ahead of Zeus. Another great decision made by the player happens here. He finds a double damage rune, and he was pretty close to the bristleback, and he had an ally full HP there. But Spectre is a hero that has very little damage at this point. On top of that, Cop is relatively wounded, and what he does is TP top. Even though his Lyle doesn't initiate on anyone, Jugger misplays just as badly and he falls. A lot of it goes to the insane experience advantage that Cop had this game. All of it, her merit. Even though he's low on mana, pay attention how he uses the clarity and the double damage to farm her way towards the base. It's not only farm efficient to do it like this, but it's also time-wise. If he went straight back to base, he wouldn't have his TP ready, and he would be losing experience and gold for a longer period of time. By doing like this, he will be full HP and mana as soon as his TP gets ready, and thanks to that, he can assist the top lane, killing Jugger twice in 2 minutes. Not only Jugger actually. One thing to note here is that usually, Cops that go for the damage talent build and does Orchid first, and I'm talking about pro players, they learn all the point in Blink before grabbing the talent. Just because without Veil or the strength talent, you're very squishy. The player probably, oh yeah, Pvgna displays here and also dies. As long as Cop knows that hook is on cooldown, there's literally no disable or enough damage on Pudge to do anything. Going back to the talent, avoid getting it at level 10 if you're not having a perfect game, because you can suffer from it. One interesting aspect of how the player approaches the game after this is his farming patterns. You usually don't see Cop's jungling, but with the damage talent, Oblivion Staff, 2 new talisman, the treads, and the clarity, she is actually decent at it. On top of that, he is quite squishy, so showing up in lane can maybe lure unnecessary attention, and he farms his way towards the top shrine. That's what's beautiful about it. With Orchid that close and the supports getting closer to level 6, it's actually better to wait and get your Orchid most of the time. Cop kinda destroys almost every support hero until they get ults, and in a game like this where he went full glass cannon, a way to deal with those ults is just silencing people. By the way, look how beautifully he farms both camps at once here. Since he does it so efficiently, he gets to farm both of them again, and that's pretty much his Orchid. It's worth noting that he was always farming without having his towers at risk, and he shows up to defend mid when it pushes. Also, he just keeps on bringing clarities and even a salve so he doesn't have to solo shrine or go back to base. And that's how you get a 12-minute double new talisman, treads, wand, Orchid. All of this is beautiful, but it's very easy to throw all the advantage away when you're playing Cop, even if you're as good as this guy. In his case, he was just playing very aggressive, out of confidence. In his own words, a very common mistake as a Cop is blinking aggressively where you have no vision, especially if you have no vision of key enemy heroes in other lanes. In this case, it was Pudge. That goes to show how much of a glass cannon Cop is with this build. Even without this member, Cop dies having level 4 blink, so yeah, pretty unfortunate. Even though he dies, we see him going for crispy plays shortly after. Notice that he buys another Salve and Clarities, and first of all, look at the minimap. He sees 2 heroes fighting bottom. As he positions himself to push top, he spots Winter, and shortly after, Pudge's hook. You can see that he wanted to silence Wyvern, but with Pudge that close, he's a way bigger threat. Not that the fast reactions matter that much with Chrono being available, but still it's interesting to mention how the fast reactions change when you're very high on the mark. Not only he gets a 3-man Sonic Wave, pay attention what the Salve enables a hero as mobile as Cop to do. He pops it, and when he re-engages, instead of blinking in aggressively, a common mistake, he saves the blink so he can get the kill and survive. He also engaged the lower HP and squishier target, and yeah, that's GG. This might come as a shock, but I won't be streaming today. I'll be casting ESL Katowice tomorrow, and it starts very early here in Brazil. Remember that the end of the month is coming, and by watching, you can get crisps to participating to the Coaching and Arcana giveaway. Also, if you have Twitch Prime, you can get Pvgna for free if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, so that's pretty cool. By the way, this channel is sponsored by Pvgna. Those guys are great, and there's a lot of new content from me on their website right now. That's pretty much it. Bye, guys.